Well, basketball season must be around the corner because I just walked over from the Jam Center where the Denver Nuggets have started their training camp. So we're one day behind the pros, but we'll go tomorrow at Viejas and start our practice. Excited to get going. I've got an early look at the guys based on what the NCAA allows us to go in the preseason, 4 hours a week. So I have a pretty good feel. We're healthy, and we're excited to get regular season practice started tomorrow at Viejas.
Coach, could you tell me what it's like being a part of the exclusive club of having the Jordan brand, one of those few basketball programs in the country?
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, you're always looking for an advantage, especially in recruiting, and be one of the select schools that gets to wear it. It's a great thing. And obviously, Kawhi Leonard being a Jordan brand player right now adds extra incentive to it. So we're excited to have the opportunity to wear Jordan brand and to be one of the few schools in the country able to wear it.
Do you take your guys over to watch the Nuggets, just saying this is a professional team, and you know what I'm saying, just kind of, I guess, learning how to practice, because it's learning how to practice, learning how to play a game kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? No, we're not allowed to take them over there. Our coaching staff's over there, and we're watching, and trust me, as much as we think we know, we're learning something. So I'm sitting here worried about getting everything in, and they went their whole install, offense and defense, in about 10 minutes. So maybe I'm overthinking it. But they're professionals, and they play like professionals. They practice like professionals. And obviously we'll talk to the kids about what we see and what the standard is. But it's exciting to watch a pro team do it, to watch guys that have been in the league a long time, and their professionalism when it comes to practice and getting better. And we'll deliver that message. Unfortunately, we're not over there watching it with the team. Your
What's the biggest
expectation?
question you want to get answered in this preseason workouts?
I want to see how quickly the freshmen come along. I have a pretty good feel for my veterans. We have 11 players available to us to play this year. 8 of them are freshmen or sophomores. So even though I have 3 sophomores, they have great game experience. Matt Mitchell started almost every game. Jalen McDaniels was a starter. And then Jordan Shackle was 6th man off the bench. So they have great experience. So I kind of know what to expect from them. My upperclassmen, Jeremy Hemsley and Devin Watson, are senior guards. And then Nolan Narain's been in the program 4 years. So I have a feel what to expect from them. I want them to be better, and they are. But it's the 5 freshmen that I want to see how quickly they adapt and adjust to the difference between high school basketball and college basketball. So I'm most excited to see how quickly they develop.
How open are you to, I mean, obviously, based on last year, you're open to freshmen, but how open are you to, does every freshman basically have a shot to, go and play this season versus, like extended time, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, every position is open. That's the way it has to be. Or else why come to practice? So the freshmen will have an opportunity to fight for a starting spot if they're good enough. And it's up to the veterans to know all this experience should pay dividends, and they should be better than a freshman. Maybe not ability-wise at times, but IQ and experience. And there's no replacing experience. That's why you look at these teams that start 5 freshmen that are all NBA-type caliber players. It takes them a while. They're usually really good in March, but it's always a struggle early to try to get them up to the college game pace and play. So that we're no different from that. Our freshmen will have an adjustment period, and how quickly they make it will determine if they're able to fight their way into a meaningful minutes or even a starting position.
Is it important in all these non-conference games, especially against the smaller schools, to give those freshmen lots of minutes?
Yeah, we have to play all our players and see who's able to contribute come conference, because in the end, it's the conference champion and obviously the Mountain West tournament champion that goes to the NCAA tournament. So we can build a resume early in the year and we'll play our freshmen, but we're playing to win every game, so we won't play them at the expense of costing ourselves opportunities to be competitive and win games. So if they're able to help us win, they'll get more minutes.
Coach, you mentioned Hemsley and Watson. How close do you think that battle's going to be for a starting spot?
I mean, they could easily both start together. They could both find themselves in the starting lineup. So they Obviously, Devin's a fifth-year senior with great experience. Jeremy's a fourth-year senior that has started multiple games for the Aztecs. So they both should be able to fight for starting positions on that floor and both be immense contributors to this year's Aztec team.
Are they both point? Like, are they both point guards? I mean, basically, you know, starting 2 point guards, would that be a possibility? You know what I mean? With Jeremy?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, with the day of basketball now, it's the more ball handling guards you have out there, the more guards that are shifty and can play off the ball screen, the better off you are. And so they've both proven they can do that. I was watching the New Mexico game from the conference tournament last year, and down the stretch we had Jeremy, Devin, and Trey out there, 3 guys that have all played point guard over their Aztec career. So yeah, they can both be out there at the same time and be productive.
Upon reflection, outside of losses per se, is there 1 or 2 things that have stood out to you from last year that you'd like to not see happen against your team this year?
You know, we always start, no matter what the season, we want to get our defense together first. So we've spent a lot of time on defense in the preseason leading up till tomorrow, and we'll continue to spend a lot of time on defense. Because defense travels, and if you suffer through an off shooting night, you can still win games or stay in games with your defense. So we always are defensive first in practice, and we'll continue to make an emphasis on defense and rebounding. After that, obviously our pace of play was greater last year. We want to continue that, want to play faster, want to not play out of control, but we want to push the pace of the game as best we can and try to increase our offensive production by pace of play.
Because we don't see practice. It's not like Hoosiers where he takes the ball and just makes the kids run. You don't do that, do you?
Well, I definitely run the kids, but not like Hoosiers. But no, it's teaching. The hard part is like as much as you want to get ahead of yourselves with 8 young players, we have to teach first. And the danger is you want to put an offense in, but you have to teach them how to play from different positions on the floor. And then when you put the offense in, they're ready to play from those positions. If you just throw an offense in, you get through the motion, but you never are very effective. So we have to be patient. We have to do a lot of teaching, even though we've had some time on the floor. The teaching will continue. I mean, coaches and teachers, it's the same thing. So we're teaching basketball, so we don't want to give them the exam before we teach them all the answers. So we'll start teaching right away tomorrow in practice.
When you first find out Jalen's staying, what's your initial reaction? Sigh of relief, jumping up and down?
Celebrate. Celebrate, because I can't go out and get another Jalen McDaniels that late. So we're excited to have Jalen back. And everyone says, you know, what are we going to see different from Jalen? I hope we see more of the same and just a little bit expanded. You know, he got noticed and averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds a game because he played the right way. He was a great mid-range player. He played with a high motor, which means play hard. And now I just want him to maybe take a few more threes because I thought he's a good three-point shooter last year. He didn't believe in it enough to take them. But I think he's put the work in. I think you'll see maybe a few more three-point shots from him this year. But other than that, I want him to play the same way he played last year.
Having come through the NBA camps as he did before the draft, before he pulled out, is that a great intangible value that he knows now what maybe the next level is like?
Yeah, I think it's great that he went through that process. You know, to work out for 10 different NBA teams at their facilities. You know, he kind of knows what's required. He knows the feedback they gave him, whether he needs to get stronger or he needs to work on his lateral quickness or whatever it might be each team gave him. Those are all nuggets that reinforce what we've been telling him. The message is no different. We preach that same message, what we think he needs to get better at. But when you hear it from another voice, another person, sometimes it just reinforces the message we've been giving him.
Hey, Brian, any concerns on, you say, what NBA guys tell him, like talking to him yesterday, he said he needs to work on his handle, his shot, that kind of, any concerns balancing him showcasing his improved pro skills that they want him to work on versus team concept? Is that a difficult balance?
Yeah, obviously, you know, he's going to want to do some more things on the floor, but it's got to be within what his abilities are. You know, someone once said, you don't want to show them what you can't do. Just show them what you're really good at and leave to imagination what they think they're missing. And so we want him just to be Jalen. We want him to do the things he's done. Obviously, he's worked hard on his skill level. I mean, he's worked on his handling. He's worked on his shooting. So he just has to do that in small doses. He doesn't have to come out and at 6'9" show everybody he's a point guard. And he won't do that. I mean, Jalen, we all know Jalen. We've seen him play. He plays with such great energy and emotion, and I don't think that will go away. He's always played to win. I didn't run a play for him last year, and he averaged 10 points and 7 rebounds. So obviously, as a sophomore, I'm going to run a few more plays for him and put him in positions where he can take advantage of that skill set that he's continued to develop. But it'll be within the team system.
You talked about him taking more threes this year, and yes, there's the skills you developed during your freshman year. There's also the confidence that a player develops during his freshman year. How important do you feel that increased confidence is going to be for your 3 sophomores this year?
Confidence is everything. I mean, I can't, as a coach, strip them of their confidence. I just have to teach them. You know, I can't have them out there shooting every time they get it because they're confident. You know, I have to teach them to play the right way, to share the ball, and if they have 2 people on them, to move it. But they have to play with confidence. I mean, if you're stripped of that, it doesn't matter what the coach tells you. If you're lacking in confidence, you're never going to be a very good player.
Obviously, Kawhi is the barometer of guys coming out of this. How much, you know, you were talking about 10 and 7. I mean, how much do you see of, I guess, the talent in Jalen that maybe Kawhi had as a freshman? Because, I mean, he was a stud as a freshman.
Yeah. I mean, to compare anybody to Kawhi is kind of, you know, you're really taking a stretch because Kawhi is like not only a hard worker, but a freak of nature athletically. And so, obviously, he's the standard. And it's great to have that standard set here, right here at San Diego State. And Kawhi was in the gym all summer, in the Jam Center, putting in the hard work. And so, what better example for our guys to sit there and watch than a guy that's already one of the top 5 players in the world still putting his work in. And so, obviously, Jalen's put up some Kawhi-like numbers as a freshman. Now it's to continue that development to see that no matter what numbers you put up or what success you have, it's all a result of hard work. And that's the beauty that Kawhi's brought, that they can continue to come back and see he continues to put that hard work in every summer here in San Diego.
What do you expect from Matt Mitchell after a pretty good first year?
Yeah, Matt had a really nice freshman year. I want to see Matt's turnovers go down and his assists go up because I know Matt knows how to play. He's a very good passer. But like a lot of freshmen, he ended up like 1-to-1 assist to turnovers. If he's going to make the next step, he needs to be like Trey Kell was as a senior, to play with better pace, you know, get more assists, get on the ball screens, and not predetermine what he's going to do. And that's just growth as a player. I expect to see it because, you know, I've seen it in the players in our program in the past that have put the work in, and Matt's put the work in. So it's just that progress going from a freshman to a sophomore. I think his IQ will go up on the floor.
With your first head coaching year under your belt, what is the difference in your comfort level between year 1 and year 2?
Well, I'm less comfortable in year 2 because Trey Kell and Malik Pope are gone. So when I step out there and these other guys show me that they can play like that, then I'll get comfortable again. I think the biggest change from last year to this year is we've had some changes on the coaching staff. And so obviously, when we were together so long as we were, we could just go on the floor and already know what everybody's strengths and weaknesses were as a coach, not just as a player. And now I've got a new coaching staff that I've got to let spread their wings and show me what they can do from a coaching standpoint without having the tendency of a head coach sometime to walk over top of them if it's not exactly what I want the second I want it. That we'll have to meet more as a coaching staff and make sure we're on the same page so that we give the team the best we can give them.
Can you talk about Lorenzo Wade's role and what you expect from him?
Yeah, it's great having Lorenzo back. After a 9-year professional career, Lorenzo's come back to finish his degree, be a student manager. Manager will be his title, and it always helps to have a guy closer in age to the team. As much as we deliver the messages, I'm delivering it as a 58-year-old man, and they're 16, 17, 18-year-old kids. And so if I can have someone that's closer to their age in the 20s, talking about his experiences at San Diego State, talking about what the real world is like over in Europe or professionally, and talking about what mistakes they made while they were here that they wish they would have done better, whether it's on the floor or social or whatever it is. It's great to have voices here that can reinforce what the coaches have told them over the years.
Brian, what's the challenge for the 4 young big recruits that you brought in with the game they're going to play? Is it quickness, toughness? Is it complexity of offense? Is it defense? What's the biggest thing they're going to experience that maybe they haven't experienced before?
Yeah, the adjustment for the new guys is always a challenge, especially for the big kids, because if you watch high school basketball, if you're 6'9" or 6'10", if you just turn too fast and knock someone down, it's a foul on you. And so I always think high school bigs play on eggshells. They don't want to turn too fast. They don't want to be too physical, you know, because there's only probably one of them in the whole conference. And so now they have to come to college, and the game is all physical. They have to hit somebody. They have to be physical inside. And so it's almost a relief to them, but then I have to teach them how to do it the right way, because they've gone from a high school game where they have to be extremely cautious how they move, how they turn, how they run, and now they have complete freedom to be physical. And so now it's that adjustment to teach them how physical they can really be. So I think, in a way, they're excited to be up here to finally say, I'm going against guys my size where I don't have to be so cautious on the floor.
What kind of Jeremy Hemsley are you expecting this year? He said yesterday, he admitted it was a down year, and he said he kind of took ownership of some of that. What are you expecting this year?
You know, Jeremy thought it was a down year. I thought Jeremy had a really good year. And I think he might have felt it was down because he started his first 2 years and he had to come off the bench a lot of times last year. So his value was great to the team, and I thought Jeremy had a good year. But obviously, when you start and you get a taste of starting, you want to stay in the starting lineup. So I think Jeremy's going to be excited that he'll have an opportunity to get back into the starting lineup. And he watched his roommate for all those years, Trey Kell, you know, lead the team as a senior. So I'm sure Jeremy's excited for his opportunities his senior year to step up and take more of a leadership role with the team. So I think Jeremy has put the work in. He's had a great 3-year career, and now he's ready to have the kind of senior year he's always dreamed about. And we will hopefully help him make that happen.
Still very early, but from what you've seen, how is the chemistry? How is this team gelling together?
I always like to say the chemistry is great in September because I haven't given a starting job out yet. So everybody thinks they're going to start, and everyone thinks they're going to average 12 to 15 points a game. So the chemistry is great now. The key is, can I keep the chemistry where it's at when roles are defined and maybe they're not as great as someone had hoped or planned on as a freshman or sophomore or senior. So we will do a good job of that. The kids believe in the system. They're Aztecs for a reason. Because of the success we've had, they're here to win games. So that's more important than any individual stat, is winning games. And in the end, we will keep that chemistry high because they all want to win.
Some of the guys yesterday said they've already got Duke circled on the calendar. Are you looking that far ahead as well?
What'd they say?
They knew the date. I said Duke, and they knew the date. I said circle on the calendar. He said, oh, yeah.
We're playing Duke this year? No. Yeah. The guys will be ready. They're excited. I mean, I promised them when they come here we would play games like that. You know, that sometimes, you know, as much as we know the value of the Mountain West Conference and how hard it is, these kids want to play Pac-12, they want to play ACC, they want to play Big Ten teams. And that's a promise I made them when they came here. And like I said, the Maui's a perfect example. We open with Duke, and then we get the winner or loser of Xavier and Auburn. And then on the other side, we have Gonzaga and Arizona and Illinois and Iowa State. We have a road game with Cal. We play Illinois State, which they will think, well, Illinois State will probably be picked to win the Missouri Valley and some of the stuff I've seen. And Loyola Chicago went to the Final Four last year, and they got a lot of players back. So our non-conference schedule is very challenging and will provide us great opportunity to learn about our team in the preseason.
I know you're worried about this season and everything coming up, but recruiting never stops. How big was it for you guys to hear that Jaden McDaniels had you guys in his top 5 or his final 5?
Yeah, the thing with the recruiting is I can't talk specifically about an individual player, but we continue to recruit the best players available to us, and we feel like we can compete for any of them, that we should be able to recruit quality players and student athletes to San Diego State. And recruiting is the name of the game. We have to get that quality of players or player to come here if we're going to continue to push for our ultimate goal, which is to take a team to the Final Four.
I'm not saying your freshmen didn't come in here as team players, but often in high school where there's one dominant player, the team strategy is get the ball to the star. Is it much of a transition for that player who's been the go-to guy in high school to adapt to having teammates a little more on his level?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, when you come from high school and you're the best player on the team, you're used to taking a lot of shots, a lot of hard shots. And so I tell them, you may have to take a hard shot or two here at San Diego State, but I don't want it early in the shot clock. I don't want it against two players. The main thing I preach on offense is share the ball and make the right play. So if you have two guys on you, and I think Trey was a perfect example last year, off a ball screen, if he found two guys on him, he'd get a lob dunk to Malik, he'd move it for a jump shot, and so he just played the right way, yet he was able to score 10, 12 points a game and doing it the right way. So late in the shot clock, I tell him you may have to make a hard shot over a couple guys if we're 3-2-1 on a shot clock. But I want to make the right play, I want to share the ball, and I want to get the assists up and the turnovers down.
What's the most important thing you learned last season?
Just stay with it. You know, stay with it. Be yourself every day. Deliver a consistent message and believe in your system and what you're doing.
With Coach Hudson going to Fresno, I know he's handled the defense the last few years. Is there one coach in charge of defense now? Are you guys all going to handle it? And any shifts in defensive philosophy from, I mean, the tradition of Aztec defense has been so strong the last few years with Justin leaving. Any shift or same principles?
You know what? I haven't put a defensive coordinator yet. You know, I don't know if I will. You know, I'm still feeling out my staff. Rod Palmer has handled all the defensive responsibilities at Long Beach State over the year. So I think he's more than capable of doing that and has done that in the preseason. But in the end, I will be responsible for all of it. So if we don't play well defensively, I won't be saying, well, look to this assistant coach, he's the coordinator. You know, I'll be responsible for our quality of play at both ends of the floor. So if we're not playing well defensively, ultimately it'll be on my shoulders.
Anything else?
Does having a lot of 6'9", 6'10" jumping jacks offset not having a lot of wide bodies?
You know, some of these freshmen I got are really strong. You know, they may not look at by their shapes, but they're strong kids. And Nolan Narain as a junior has gained great strength. And so I think we'll have strength and athleticism, and I think that will help us at the defensive end.